Hi, I'm Rowan.
Hi, it's Zach.
And you're watching the season premiere of Season 3 of In the Zone.
So, we've been falling a little bit behind on the filming. We haven't filmed for a while, so we're not sure how many episodes we're going to film today, but we're definitely going to film 2. Because the episode is called 2.
Yes, today we're going to be discussing the Twilight Zone Season 3 premiere. 2 is the name of it. If you haven't caught on yet, we sort of review these in chronological order, so that's why that has coincided so nicely. We're going to spoil the entire thing, so if you don't want it spoiled for you before you watch this, then you should probably check it out somewhere else. So Season 3. We're starting a new season. How exciting.
Quite.
I think so the thing about Season 3 is exciting, because, so we got like the highs, the lows, and the middles. There are a few more highs than Season 2.
Yeah.
A few more lows than Season 2, and a few less middles, but the middles are worse and the lows are worse. Like, you know how there would be some bad episodes, like, that are really bad, like The Mind of the Matter, Mr. Dingle. There are going to be more of those than, like, the better bad ones, like A Thing About Machines. Like, the bads are bad.
Yeah, if the trend continues, it's getting polarized.
We have a new opening. Like before the episode, we have the whole Twilight Zone thing. There's a new one. So let's just go through it and basically review it. Say what we think. So we start out, there's this spiral. And I guess it's supposed to be an optical illusion because it could look like it's a cone that's pointing out, or a cone where you're seeing the inside of it and the tip is going that way.
Yeah, or it's just like weird spinny stuff.
And then it goes into the distance, and then a new modern, less spooky font comes up, says the Twilight Zone, and then it like glass breaks and flies away. So,
I like the spinning wheel. I also liked the spooky font, so I'm not a fan of the new font.
I'm definitely not a fan of the new font, I agree.
But I like the new intro images.
I'm not a big fan of the spinning wheel just because it's like the only thing we see. It's sort of weird that we focus so hard on that.
I don't know.
Whereas later in the 5th season, and also in the 4th, I think, we get a bunch of different images, but here it's like this one thing. It's sort
the
of
spinning wheel
weird
sort of seems
specific.
like they're doubling down on the sci-fi aspect of the show.
So, I'm not a huge fan of the new intro. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It just takes up like a little bit of time.
The font is rough.
Yeah, the font is rough. It's a weird choice.
Yeah.
For them to go from like Twilight Zone font to go to like billboard font. Buy used cars, you know? The human race is basically wiped out. They're like,
yeah, I don't know. I thought the setup was confusing a little bit.
Why?
Because it's not like the human race, it's like a city that's been destroyed or something.
Yeah, that was confusing, because he said no one has walked these specific streets in the city in 5 years. So it was confusing to me what the scope was. Whether it was like these 2 people, like the only 2 people left in like the state of Kansas, or like the entire Earth.
And he starts out also declaring that it's the first day of the 6th year. And that threw me off, because it made 0 sense.
Why?
Like, nobody cared that it was the first day of the 6th year.
Because
there
no one was
no
there
significance, except something was significant.
I guess that basically what happened was 6 years ago on this day is when people, like, got killed. I'm not sure how many people
evacuated. I don't know.
Maybe, because we do see headlines later that say evacuate city. The meaning of the headline, or the meaning of us seeing that headline, was either to let us know that there was some fear leading up that this would happen, or it's saying that people actually did evacuate. It's not clear. It's pretty ambiguous and not in a fun way. But then a woman walks out, and it's like, what? I thought there was no one there. Fade to black.
So after we pan to Sterling, there's titles and credits!
Titles and credits!
So she walks around, and I took so many notes, and she sees some mannequins.
She sees an old movie theater.
Yeah, I was wondering with the mannequins, like, are they gonna pull after hours on us? And
they're gonna come to life? No. She sees an old restaurant.
So she enters
the restaurant, and so... Oh, also the music is, like, really distracting, and it doesn't fit at all. It's like, bo-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba, when it's really just, like, someone walking around, it's like, bing-ba-da-ba-ba-bo. It's like, it has nothing to do with anything. Yeah, it's so clearly not written for the episode. It's like, oh, let's go into the CBS stock music library, just throw this on there. Then a man appears.
This is pretty interesting. So she throws a thing at him, and then she throws another thing at him, and then she throws some glass at him.
Glass break, glass break. First glass break of the season.
Glass
bottle.
break. Glass
But yeah,
break.
you see them just starts throwing stuff. Then they have they wrestle and it's like so silent. Like there's for some reason they don't put music here. It's like, but actually no, it's cool. There's silent wrestling because when there's no music, it just sort of illustrates like this is sort of dumb. Sort of dumb that they're fighting because like no one cares and the silence. It just sort of emphasizes the point that they're the only two people there. So I take back what I said, that was dumb. But yeah, the silence works. And then he punches her and she falls to the ground, knocked out. And so then he eats chicken from her
Well,
hand.
so what he does after he punches her is he examines his hand. And I thought, like, are we gonna get some crazy strength thing from that hand later? Like, I don't know. Because he punched her and then she went to the ground for like a solid half of the episode.
Because you were expecting like the science fiction element to be more than
like
a nuclear apocalypse, and this is the aftermath. Because really, the science fiction is all in the setup. There's no real science fiction element in the story itself.
Like,
and then he sees a headline: "Enemy threats to break big bomb code."
I'm going to break the big bomb code.
Oh my god. Anyways, so that happens. He sees a calendar with the bikini babe. Then he looks back to the woman.
And then I was like, was the woman the bikini babe?
Nope.
And then there was so many points where I thought it would take a turn for the interesting.
He wanders outside and he sees a mannequin. And he sees a headline, "Evacuate city," which, as we discussed, it does have, an ambiguous
Did they evacuate the city?
significance.
So I did see later, there was a bird cage, right? Did you remember the bird cage?
Yeah.
The bird cage appeared to have been opened. Which suggests evacuate and not some soldiers came in and shot everybody.
Or maybe there was just a bird cage happened to be open and empty, and then whatever happened, happened.
While he looks at the newspapers, he scares a bird, right?
Yeah.
That bird was that a white dove?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think so.
Like a little bit of imagery.
Imagery. He goes back to a woman and he shakes some stuff from her pockets. Oh, look.
I thought that was going to be interesting too.
Nothing, it goes nowhere.
I thought maybe he had killed her and then he was going to oh dang, I did not want to kill her. Look at this person who had an actual life.
Boring. Yeah, that would have been interesting. Pours water on her and she wakes up.
Wah!
It's like, eat, invader. We learn they're on opposite sides of a war. He says there's no reason for them to fight. Yeah. I mean, what? Why would there be a reason to fight? I think maybe the woman... I don't even think she could have been oblivious that everyone died. She was just, the stupidest person who's like, gotta beat you up. So then he leaves. So then he wanders around an abandoned barbershop.
So the abandoned barbershop walking around was really, really exciting for me. Because he found a cloth, threw it to the ground, found something else, threw it to the ground, found a cup, set it down on the table. Ah! So close! So close!
He's shaving, then she finds him. He gives her some soap, and she washes her face.
She looks at her. Wash his face. Look. She looks at him. Wash his face. Wash.
So then they leave. They walk. And they walk around together. They're at a theater. They see skeletons with guns. They take guns and they aim at each other. Fade to black. Well, my question is, why would he do that? His whole thing is, we don't fight. Sees a gun. Ah! Oh wait, maybe this is dumb. But it's like, your whole thing is it's dumb to fight. And then you see a gun, first thing you do is aim it at her. I don't get why he has that instinct.
Maybe because she was... they're not
Self-defense.
what I believe. Maybe he thought he saw two guns and knew it was about to end poorly for him.
So we fade up, and then he puts down his gun. And then he leaves. And then she follows him. I wrote, that was such contrived tension and drama, like, ooh, an interesting thing that's happening. And then I guess it's completely resolved instantly.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's so dumb. Its purpose there is not for the... Wait a minute. Its purpose there is not to, move the plot forward. It's there to, oh, something's exciting, to keep you past the commercial break.
Yeah. So what? So let's say I'm the salvage team for this episode, and it's it's a train and it fell off a cliff, and you need to find out what you can take from it.
Yeah.
So what I do right there she shoots him, and then she has nothing to do, and then it's like a little bit of a moral, like
she
don't
shoots
shoot.
herself.
Yeah, like maybe like she's, I don't know.
No, and then she.
Or he shoots her because he's the more interesting character because he speaks English. and it's like
right.
It's something like
yeah. That's a little.
Because then you have a better moral.
Well, then it would be a lot more boring. Well, no, it would be just as boring. One person walking around an abandoned city as two.
But one person walking around in an abandoned city being like, oh heck, why did I kill that
person? Yeah,
he
kills her. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be like maybe half a point better. Yeah, it's sort of interesting. They look at the mannequin, and then she says, Prekrasny. Well, no. So here's the thing. So she's supposed to be Russian, probably. And so she's supposed to, this is probably like a Russian word. But then she says it in like the thickest American accent. She's like, Prekrasny. He gives her the dress, and then he says, put it on. And then I wrote here, no plot, no story, which is pretty accurate. It's like two people walking around.
She doesn't want to put it on.
She goes into a room to change, and then she...
Oh,
sees
here's
posters
where we leave the boring and hit the extreme flaws.
Oh. Hit me.
Alright, war propaganda posters. Right? War propaganda posters written in English. The one that really strikes her really needs the English. I mean, like, she doesn't speak English.
Right.
And she is still, like, struck by propaganda posters for the other...
Well, wouldn't just seeing the images sort of provoke her, seeing
well, some of the images, but, like, this is what the enemy does to our soldiers.
I don't think you really need the words.
I don't know. But it's also like, this is an American poster. These are American propaganda posters.
And then also maybe the dumbest thing, one of the dumbest things in the episode, is to show that she can't speak English. She like squints at it, and then there's a shot from her perspective where it's like blurry and then in focus. Like that's supposed to mean she can't read it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for. That was embarrassing.
Well, I don't know. I thought that was like a flaw. So
then these posters inspire her to shoot him, and there's like the dumbest gun sound.
They went into the shed.
Boing!
Yeah, so they went into the shed of old Twilight Zone supplies, and they got this slide whistle from the Mighty Person.
Boing! And then I guess she shoots him.
Yeah,
she misses.
She misses.
So then he leaves.
And he's just like...
It's like, what the heck? That was sort of mean.
Yeah.
They tried to murder me. And so then later, maybe the most insultingly bad scene in the episode is that it's raining outside, and so she sees the rain, and she's sitting there, and then she just sits there in a chair. The scene takes like 40 or 50 seconds, but like nothing happens. This dude, he gets dressed. It's incredibly boring.
Yeah, and
then she shows up, and then he tells her to go away so that she doesn't fight, because he's scared of her. But then she comes out in a dress. Which, I mean, what is that supposed to symbolize? Like,
and then
she wants to please him, so she puts on the dress he likes, proving that she's a friend. So then he says, Prekrasny, and then he gives her like a can of peaches, and then they leave, and then she follows, and then he looks at her, and then they gaze into each other's eyes.
And then she smiles.
And then they walk off together, and that's the end.
And I was like, what? I was waiting for something interesting.
Great. Now we're going to pick those up. That'll be a lot of fun.
So
this episode, for all the reasons that we've said, it's bad. It's so bad. It's so boring. Such filler. Maybe the most boring episode we've ever seen. Probably, because there's no story.
What are other boring episodes? You hated The Invaders with a passion, but I like
The Invaders is not a lot less boring than this, but it's definitely less boring than this.
I enjoy
The Invaders is very exciting.
The Invaders has a plot and something happens.
Yeah, it is pretty filler. It is very filler-esque in the same way that, like,
I don't know.
There's like one plot point, and then it's just stretched out a whole episode. Like,
I was intrigued.
Woman fights invader, and it's like people become friends stretched out rather than like
But the thing is,
where it's like a man disappears, they look for him, the other guy disappears, rather than like they become friends.
Yeah,
and,
I don't know. Woman Fights the Invader was like at least a fight scene.
Yeah, at least a little bit
tension.
Yeah.
Isolation episodes can be well done, and when they are well done, they're really intriguing.
Yeah.
And I was intrigued by this one, but then like,
what's interesting is where is everybody? A guy's just wandering around looking at stuff.
The acting
But
was
then-
okay in this one.
And where is everybody? It's like, ooh, I'm looking at stuff. Oh, it looks like something's here. Someone used to be here. Like, the things he looks at are interesting. Or there's something going on there that's interesting. But here it's like, oh, look. There's an old movie theater. Can we talk about her character for a second? She's so dumb. So she still wants to fight for some reason. And then she doesn't. But then she still wants... She wants to. She still secretly wants to fight. But then she ends up changing her mind. Like, what a dummy. Her character just has the dumbest motivations. She's just a really dumb person. Like, I still gotta fight. I still gotta fight. And then she's like... But then she's like, no, maybe not. Yes, I do!
But maybe
no,
that's
maybe
the
not.
point, because, like, maybe Sterling's like, this is not a person to be.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
True.
I'd like to see.
Still, I think it's unrealistic that a person would act this way, and that they would still like be like hanging with a guy, and then all of a sudden want to shoot him.
Yeah.
Because you see a poster.
It might have been a bad episode today, but like a thoughtful thing at the time.
Well, still would have
it's
been
like,
boring as
I don't know,
like an old
but
shoe at the time.
If all the country was like rallying around the flag, let's go kill the enemy.
Yeah. This
it
is,
looked
yeah.
like then there was like a place where there were like war posters that were dehumanizing the
Yes,
enemy.
So the
But
message
then
here is
that
that
also-
the enemy
yeah.
is human. That's
Yeah.
the message here, really.
And it's a good message, and I like the message.
It's not really a cautionary tale like don't do war or the world will be bad afterwards. It's not really that kind of thing, even though it seems like it should because it's like a post-apocalyptic thing. It's more of like the enemy is human. And the way they tell the story happens to be in a post-apocalyptic environment. But they could have told it like during a war, rather than after. There was not really any part of this episode that made me interested.
I thought something,
in wondering where it was going.
I thought something interesting was going to happen.
Right, and then that sort of excites you temporarily.
Yeah.
But then after a certain point, you realize it's not
the thing.
going anywhere.
Was the first pass through the episode excruciating? Not quite. Would the second pass be? Absolutely.
Right. I completely agree, because this is my second time seeing it. First time, it's sort of interesting because you don't know where it's going. This time, it's like, I know it's going nowhere. It's incredibly boring. Because when you're watching it for the first time, you're like, they wouldn't just have a guy wandering around for 2 minutes in an abandoned barber shop with nothing happening. So something interesting is about to happen really soon. So I better pay attention,
Yeah, it's sort of like, I don't know, have you ever watched an action movie and it's like the character is somewhere dark and creepy and something's about to jump out at them?
Right. It's like, maybe you think that's like this, so that sort of gets your attention, but then it never pays off in any way. So what's good? What's good about it?
The acting is not excruciating, except for some of the acting.
I agree. So, should we give ratings?
2 for 2.
For you?
Yeah.
For you, a 2 for 2?
Yeah.
Alright, awesome. I'm glad at least one of us did it. I'm gonna give this one 0.5!
Actually?
Yeah.
Wow!
It sounds extreme, but this episode is bad.
So that's pretty intense.
This might be the worst episode of the Twilight Zone. Yeah, so that's it for 2. Next episode, we're going to be discussing The Arrival, so I hope you arrive on over to the YouTube channel and check it out then.
Pun, 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 pun.
Have a good day. Have a good one. Have a good day, dude. Have a good one. Do something that makes you smile.